Hey there, and welcome back to the Blender Shootmania tutorial series. Today is Blender Shootmania 4.1, and this episode is going to be using MotionBuilder, which is actually a program that is recommended by Nadeo. It is unfortunately a paid product by Autodesk, so you'll have to get that. I got it through the student program where basically you can just get it a 3-year membership for free. I mean, you can figure out a way to get it yourself if you want to try and doing this, or if you want, you can send me your model file and I can create the AnimSet for you that we'll be creating in this episode. So I don't know how to do this in Blender, which is why we're using MotionBuilder. And first off, I'm going to export our model we created in Blender Shootmania 4, previous episode. Hopefully I'll remember how to do this correctly, just like that. And looks good. Export that. Alright, save it. And so now, back here, and this model file, I'm going to open with, actually I can just click it, it's slow. Come on. Open it with MotionBuilder. I have it preset to open it as MotionBuilders, but you might have to choose that yourself. There we go, so it's loading up now. Come on, it will take a little moment to load up. It's, I guess, a fairly big program. This is really useful because it does a very good job at easily just doing exactly what I want to do here to make the AnimSet. To basically what we're doing is retargeting, is what it is called. And so first up, I'm going to click on the model, just left click, and click delete. And another one too, because there was 2 of course. And I want to go to scene, then right click on there and select branches, which basically will select the entirety of the model. And I'm going to click skeleton, and you want to define, and now we need to set each bone to a bone on this the skeleton here. And what's really nice, you can just click this little icon here and select only match bones. So it's going to match all of the bones here onto this model as best it can, which actually will do exactly what we want. There are a few yellow ones here, which apparently is not parallel. That's fine. I think it's because the model is not parallel actually. But so now we need a control rig. So click biped. And I really don't know if it really matters, but I will just always choose those options. And now I want to load up one of the character files that I created by clicking merge. So you can either use the Scintille sample or the StormMan sample, and you'll have which is linked down below of course, as in every episode, and the AnimSet char is what you want. So open that, and it's going to have a dialog box here, and none of this really matters, but you probably want to do apply namespace. You need to have some kind of namespace in front of everything, otherwise everything will combine together and it will replace things that you already have in the scene, which is what we don't want. So click merge after you've applied namespace. Alright. There, now it's importing the each of the animations from the model, or from the AnimSet. There we go, and now, there we go. So now you can see there is the original model along here, and the StormMan model. So if can I rotate this? I really don't know much about this program. There we go. There we go, like that. So I can kind of see there is one model like that there. That's a lot smaller actually because the Borderlands character is quite large. But so now what I have is this already has a control rig and everything, and what I want to do is going to go under control rig here and set AnimSet char StormMan. So now it's going to try and put the animations from the StormMan onto the new character we have here. So, oh come on, there we go. You can see, and you can so you can move along the animations, or you can choose a different one. I'm just like water, for example, and you can see each of them. Now, there's one little problem here, which is the arms are too far in. Because if we go to the T pose, I think, or take, no. Let's go to the default take. no, I want bind pose. That's the one I want. See, this pose here, these arms are a lot lower, so this pose in green, which is the one that we have from Blender, should be similar to this one. And see, these arms are fairly low, which means it thinks that these arms are here, but really they're down here. So these arms are actually going to go into the model. So to fix that, what we have to do is go the easiest way, honestly. I think you could actually do it in MotionBuilder yourself, but I'm going to go to Blender. And I'd say, so we click on, click on the armature, go into pose mode, and just rotate this up, I'd say about 20 negative degrees, because it's trying to rotate clockwise. Yeah, so I want to try and get it closer to there. If you want, you can actually import the StormMan model, and then you can just base it off that. I'll just kind of do it by hand. If it's not right, I can always just come back in here, adjust it a little bit more, and then import it again. It's not too tricky to do, so I can just do this. Now I'm going to go back out, and what I want to do first is click on the model, and I want to apply the armature to each of these. And now go back to the armature, go back into pose mode, and I want to apply pose as rest pose. There we go. So now, if I go back, otherwise, if you don't apply this first, then it'll move the arms in some weird ways. So do that, and then apply armature again, just the same as it was before. And now it's ready for exporting again. So export, Fbx. It should save the settings here, so you can just export that again. And I'll go through this once more. Now you can just go File, Open, click out, there it is. Open and don't save. Open. There, now we can do this again. Okay, why is it not deleting? There, delete, delete. And now select all the branches as we did before. Skeleton. Actually, you can just click Control Rig and then it'll ask you for a skeleton because you have to have one first. And now, same as before, select only match bones. Done. And Control Rig. Biped, FKIK. Okay, now we got back where we were before. And we can merge again. Back out into StormMan. There we go. And apply namespace, remember that. And merge. There we go. It's loaded up, and we can just once again choose AnimSet char from the StormMan. And now you can see, if I do this right, there we go. See, it's actually closer now to the correct model. You have to really, to be sure it's right, you have to go into game and then just look. And so this should be almost, this should basically give you perfect animations. There are some weird things with the fingers sometimes, which I don't know how to fix, unfortunately. They'll get in weird directions on certain animations, which you can kind of get by just not animating fingers, but I mean, it's extra bones that you're just not using. So basically now all you gotta do is go click on the big button here and go bake plot, and we want to bake plot to skeleton. And so click this little button here, and it'll give you this dialog. And we want to plot all the takes, so every single animation. And now I don't really know what these do, and I believe that the defaults here should be fine. So click plot. Now it's plotting. You can see there's some weird glitches when it's showing it, but it's plotting each one of the takes or the animations, and there we go. So now it's done, and you can see here there are actually keyframes on each frame now. And I can go and, so I'm using Autodesk MotionBuilder 2015. And so if you have, I believe, previously I was using 2014, and you can just click Save Selection, which will just save the selection, which of course is just the armature we want. And if you have 2014 or older, I believe you can just click Save Selection. But here I've noticed, I guess they have a newer version of Fbx, which doesn't seem to be supported by Mania Planet. I mean, you can try just doing this. If it doesn't work for you, then you'll have to do this, which is go Python Tools and then click Fbx Export. And so you want to export, I mean, I don't think it really matters. I'll do 2011 since it's just newer. And you want to check export selection and export. All this is good, and click save. So now it's saved out just that. You minimize that or exit that. And it's going to save this in a weird place. So here in my StormMan folder, I think generally it'll save it in the last thing you opened, which in this case was the StormMan folder, and it's just going to have a blank name. Like there's just going to be nothing there. And so I'm going to cut that. I'm going to move it over to my folder here, paste it in. I'm going to rename it to AnimSet, and that is the file there that you can now just, if I go to my Mania Planet folder and go into Work, Skins, Models, Arena Player, and Salvador, and I can just copy that right in there. I don't want to mess with it because this is one that I've worked on quite a bit. I don't want to change it right now, but yeah, so then you just copy that in there, and that'll replace whatever one you had before, which could potentially be the StormMan one, or whatever. So this will give you, so there's basically two different ways that you can get really good animations. One, I've gotten a few comments about this. So number one, if you take the basically if you have a character that is looks very similar to the StormMan, you can just go, as we did previously, to import, go StormMan, model, object, armature, and then you'll get the armature from that. And so if your model is very similar to this, just don't edit it at all. And you can, if you don't change it as we did in part 3, and just apply weights, then if you leave it like this, it will move basically the bones. If you use the AnimSet from the StormMan, what will happen is all the bones on your model will try and move onto the position of the StormMan model. So this bone here will move to here, which will make the model really, really screwed up. It will not look correctly because all this mesh here is going to try moving with this bone, which is going to go over here. So that's the reason why you need to make these new AnimSets. And otherwise, if you can, leave the default model like this in Blender, and then you can use this default StormMan or the default Scintille if you're going to use the Scintille one. And then you'll get perfect animations that way. Or usually, I mean, if they're similar, I mean, it won't look too bad if you have it using the StormMan and you have this one. It won't look too bad, but it would look kind of weird, and it's just better overall to be using MotionBuilder, or if I can, I will figure out a way to do it in Blender. That'd be really nice, because then you could do this entire process in free software, which would be really cool. But at the moment, I can't do that. So, yeah, so basically you can make these AnimSets now and use those whenever you can, because it makes the model look a lot better. You could potentially actually make your own animations in MotionBuilder, or I guess you could potentially do it in Blender, though you'd have to do every single one, which would be a pain, I believe. So basically you can create your own. If you go idle, so that's the pose just in the view where you just choose your view, where you choose your character. This is the pose you'll have. So you can actually change this. Like I might potentially do a few different models that, like potentially Superman, generally he's floating, I believe, so you could have a different animation where he's just floating up and down a little bit with his legs closer together, whatever you want. I've seen a couple different animations, which is kind of cool. You can experiment with that if you want. So I believe this is all I've got now for the Blender Shootmania tutorial series. If I might potentially do a troubleshooting video with general problems that come up in the future if there's people who want that. Otherwise, that's it for this series. Hopefully you can get your model working, and we'll see some more of those out there. So leave a like down below if this video is useful to you, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.